on it, but then I thought, but then there would be more elastic property to it, so it would have even more potential energy. So if we had an elastic ball that was this big, that was the same makeup as that one, the exact same thing would happen. Yeah. Just
So,
because it's bigger and there's more mass, and so in theory,
you
it
have
might
more
slow
potential.
down. Yeah, but then there would still even be more potential energy because there's more. Like, do we just, in terms of rubber band energy and that kind of thing, the thicker the rubber band, the more rubber band energy
Oh, I see
it
what you're
has,
saying.
like that.
I see what you're asking.
Just
You're
trying
asking
to
if you have a
process that.
bigger rubber ball,
Can it compensate? Is the amount of elastic potential energy scale with the size of the ball?
Exactly,
Yeah,
because it's going to act the same as the Superball, just the bigger version.
well, I would say that it scales with volume. I mean,
Okay.
it's more elastic material,
Yeah.
so it has more. It can squeeze it. Squeeze. The way of thinking about it is you want to think about it as so with elastic energy. You want to think about Superballs. You want to think about elastic energy per unit
Ability
volume.
to compress and
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
So when we did the carts, the self-propelled carts,
Yep.
in 5th grade, my students wanted to test skinny rubber bands versus the big rubber bands. And ironically, the big rubber bands forced more torque. So as they were winding, the chassis started to twist.
Yeah, yeah.
And for some of them, if there wasn't enough surface contact and friction, the cars wouldn't move. So it reminded me of torque, like of a really powerful engine.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know exactly how to describe that to them in terms of potential energy. Like, does the thicker, bigger rubber band have more potential energy or less, or is it the same, or does it depend on how you wind it? I mean, how does that work? And it's got obviously less spring initially. Like you require more force to pull it back to the same distance you would pull back a skinnier one. So then you're applying more force, so then do you give it more potential energy?
But you just put your finger on it right there.
Okay.
You just described spring constant. You said it takes more. What you just said was it takes more force to pull it to the same distance.
Okay.
That is exactly that's how you describe a spring constant.
Okay.
Okay. And so what you're saying is there's so
you're giving it more energy.
Energy.
In that
Remember when we
sense.
said work is force times distance?
Uh-huh.
So you're saying
Giving it more force means you're giving it more potential energy.
you're
in that
putting
sense.
more potential energy because for that same distance that you're pulling, you apply more force.
Okay.
You put more work into that spring.
Okay.
More potential energy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's how spring energy works. The higher that spring constant is, the more potential energy you get.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Try to get them to like in good condition.
Before we break out, let's talk a little bit about what you're going to do. We have a bunch of groups. We have 4 stations here, okay, that you're going to round robin through. We have one kind of what we call the swing timetable, where if you have extra time or you're waiting on a demo, you can go check out some cool stuff back here. Randy and Laura are back there. Charlie are back at that table. One of the ways we might want to do this, some of these demos aren't going to take you a lot of time. It is going to take you probably half an hour to work through some of the questions. So we may have to, since we only have 4 tables, we may have to take turns with the groups. What else do I want to say? Some of these demos, because we're dealing with sound and we're dealing with heat, where I'm going to have you hammering nails, are going to be loud. Let's be a little bit careful about each other's ears. I think the hammer and nails will go outside. We've got a sunny day, so some of our solar energy, our radiant energy activities are going to work really well. I'm trying to think of what else to tell you. We'll come around and help you out. We've got some cool demos out here, and I guess we can just start the round robin.
Yeah, for activity 1, if you'll turn the paper you've been looking at with the questions, if you'll turn that over, activity 1 questions are on the back of the paper you already have. So we'll get some of those and put them, I think it's over here, activity 1. Activity 2, 3, and 4, those directions are at the table themselves. So.
Yeah, so activity 1 is a little bit similar to what you just did. There's some new ideas involved. And then we've got a heat energy activity that's kind of fun, and it's going to give you a little bit of a workout. And then we have sound energy and radiant energy. And then we'll go through these over the next couple hours, and then we'll come back and talk about stuff. We'll have lunch at some point and